All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So, Bon Jovi breaks the wrong kind of record. And it's going to give me a little space to rant and rave a bit about what's happening in the music world these days. And again, I'm not saying John's vocals are the best they've ever been or anything like that. In fact, I've just said, look, if you can't sing, you can't sing. In his case, he's got an issue that is preventing his voice from being all it can be. And not only that, but they did cancel a tour that I think was supposed to happen to support this new album, which just came out. Before I talk about that, though, here is a band that just released an album back in June as well. It's called Atlantic, and the album itself is titled Another World. All right. So the reason I promote this stuff is I like it. I'm not doing it to, I don't get paid to promote this stuff. I wish I did. I think I would probably be a little more thorough. But I put the breadcrumbs out there, and then folks can hopefully find what they're looking for. If you like, say, Asia, Golden Earring, Foreigner, Survivor, this has got a lot of that. So it's also pretty original. And I think once you listen to it, you'll understand, hey, that's some good music right there. Well produced, courtesy of our friends over at Escape Music. Now, the sad news about Bon Jovi. So, if you're paying attention to this because you tend to go on classic rock websites, Bon Jovi's latest album, Forever, came out back in June, way back in June, like a few weeks ago. And the record entered the Billboard 200 album sales chart at number 5, which happened to be Bon Jovi's highest charting debut first week, right? I mean, at number 5, comes out and it hits number 5. That's the best they've ever done. And you're thinking, hey, it's 2024. There's still hope. I mean, the old bands I used to listen to, they're getting all the way up to number 5. Now, a couple of things. John's voice isn't where it could be, but in the studio, I think they did a fairly good job. The first single, which is called Legendary, to me sounds a lot like a Casting Crowns song. That's the Christian band that I often listen to. And so it was kind of bouncing around in my brain one day. And I'm like, what does that sound like? And I had to really think about it. And so, yeah, there's a song by Casting Crowns, and the chorus, just, I know music is now kind of repeating, it's rhyming and repeating. And there are little bits of it that sound like that. And I tend to always associate, hey, that sort of sounds like this. But it's still a pretty good song. And it's probably good enough for rock radio stations back in the day. Today, it would only be heard on an adult contemporary station, maybe a hot AC, as we used to call it, but mostly just adult contemporary stations. And I don't know if they added that song or not, but my guess is they probably didn't add it to their playlist. And thus, the album hit number 5, and guess what happened the following week? It fell off the top 200 completely. That's insane. In the old days, what would happen, and you were there, right? Back in 1985, an album would come out coinciding or after a single was on the radio for a little while. The album would come out and it would debut maybe in the top 50. And then the single would do better and the album would climb the charts. And then maybe the album, after a while, the sales would slump, and then they would release another single and the album would shoot up the charts again. But typically albums didn't come out and debut at number 5 and then go away completely. I mean, that's schizophrenia. What's driving this, okay, is the fact that fans who still love this band go out and purchase it. But there's no sustaining like force that will keep that album on the charts after that. There's no support system, as I often say. What bothers me is the fact that these classic rock radio stations all have websites and they all put out the same information. Oh, Bon Jovi has a new album out there, a brand new studio album. It's a follow up to his album in 2020. Fans are really excited about it. Hey, are you guys playing that? No, we're not playing the new Bon Jovi song, Legendary, but you can watch the video for it right here. You could just, tap on the link and watch it yourself. We're not going to play it on our radio station. We're going to play Living on a Prayer again. And then after that, we're going to play Wanted Dead or Alive. Well, in the old days, we had this thing called Yesterday and Today. Like the artist comes out with a new song and you would play the old song and then you'd play the new song. You could have played Living on a Prayer and then you could have played Legendary. See how that works? I know you're so afraid that the woman driving down the road in her SUV is going to hit the button and change the station, and you're going to lose ad revenue, right? Kids won't be going to the amusement park this weekend because she won't hear the ad for the amusement park. And this is where we're at today in the year 2024. And it all goes to the top, right? The top of the food chain here, because all these, this is command and control. There is very little independence in the radio business these days. That's why I talk about my friends over at Modern Retro Radio. I'm pretty sure they're playing the new Bon Jovi and they'll keep playing it. And if they put out another single, they'll play that one as well. And it's internet, it's not terrestrial. And so they have the freedom to do what they want to do. So you should support radio stations like Modern Retro Radio. Okay, just putting it out there. Now, I have a few followers that will say to me, well, what if I call the radio station? You're not going to get anybody if you call. Imagine calling one of these radio stations, especially on the weekend. Hi, you've reached the new Q105, where we're playing the hits of yesterday and today. Thanks for your phone call. At the tone, leave your name and your number and a brief message, and someone in about 2 years will get back to you. Thanks for calling Q105. And make sure you visit our sponsors, and it's just like, that's it. There's no, we're already super automated. There are very few DJs, okay? And the DJs, all of the files that they're going to play, because they're not records, they're not carts, they're not tapes, they're certainly not vinyl LPs, right? Everything is on a computer and it's preloaded and it just plays. And I know you could stop the set. You hit a button, use your mouse. Oh, I stopped the set. Now I'm going to talk. Then I'm going to play 12 advertisements and then we'll come back and it'll have a liner and then we'll play the music that's been pre-programmed from the mothership laboratory of boring and very unimaginative programming, right? It's just, that's what it is. It's just boring and unimaginative. And it's the same songs. They're going to play Wanted Dead or Alive next hour. Ooh. But what about that new song called Legendary? Are they going to play it? Nope. Not going to play it. Why? Well, we'll lose listeners. Oh, it's just the old stuff, man. We're just locked into the old stuff. We're making money playing the old stuff. So we're not going to screw it up playing any of this new stuff. This new stuff just doesn't match, doesn't work. It kind of would if you promoted it and talked about it. I mean, what's the fear here that, again, the woman's not going to hear the ad for the amusement park and she won't take her kids and spend $400 on what? I don't know. But, either that or, she might go and buy groceries, which probably will cost her almost as much, especially now in 2024. Look, folks, am I the old guy on the front porch yelling? Yes, I'm him. Rick Beato's doing the same thing. Somebody sent me a clip of Rick just going off on how bad everything is right now. And he's 100% correct. He's got a different take here and there. And he's smart, but he's smarter than I am. So his takes are really good. My takes are just me shooting from the hip. And people don't like that. People like organization. Well, tell us why, Dave. Why is this happening? It's happening because people don't have any creativity anymore. And there's a big radio monopoly, the iHeart Radio Network. So Bon Jovi has fans, right? And the fans push this to number 5. The radio industry doesn't care. They see that as a blip. Well, don't worry. We'll go back to promoting whatever it is that's hot. I mean, this will come and go, and we can nod to all the fans and say, hey, good job, number 5, good job. Then the next week it's gone. And if you were to call one of these radio stations, they would just laugh at you. If there was somebody there who knew what you were talking about, they would just go, oh, that's silly. You know that we don't play that anymore. We're not going to play new music by Bon Jovi. Our library contains 5 Bon Jovi songs, though, that we play over and over again. Would you like to hear one of those? Because I'm sure one of them is coming up soon, because we tend to play them over and over. And it's just, this is madness, quite honestly. From the standpoint of, okay, so maybe this isn't as good as the music that Bon Jovi put out in 1980, whatever. But it's good enough to get on the radio today and get maybe a couple, maybe 3 or 4 months worth of airplay. And then maybe they'll put out another single after that. That's what they did in the old days. The first single would start to fade, and then the record label would say, hey, got another single for you. And you'd go and listen to it. And you say, yeah, that's good. I'll add that. Now, this is all just like top down. They just call some executive and say, hey, we've got this that we're promoting now. And the record labels just collude with these giant monopolies. And they make stars out of people that don't deserve to be stars, that didn't do anything. At least Bon Jovi paid their dues, right? And this is over, you know? Unless you're the guy banging on the guitar there, that guy, that country guy who became a sensation overnight there. I can't think of his name, but he just came out of nowhere and gave everybody the middle finger, said, no, I'm not taking your money. And he's so popular that, you know, then he started playing live concerts and everything. And what is it? The Rich Men North of Richmond song, just. And honestly, I don't even really like that song all that much. It's okay, but it does express something that people are experiencing. But I grew up in an era where you had polish on everything. It was Toto and Survivor and Journey and Foreigner and these bands that were so polished, even Bon Jovi. And now it's just a bunch of noise where it's electronic, it's dark matter. I'm not trying to confuse the actual dark matter with Pearl Jam's new album, which it's probably getting some spins over at Active Rock Radio. But Bon Jovi, they're not going to get the time of day. Nope, not with the new stuff. So they debut at 5, and then they fall off the charts. That's going to keep happening. And this is why artists say, why should I put out a new album? First of all, if it streams on Spotify, I'm not going to get any money. If it goes on the radio, it'll go on for like a week or 2, and then it'll be gone. Or it won't go on at all. And so how are we supposed to make money? Well, we've got to hit the road. And in John's case, he can't sing. So he can't go out on the road even to promote this album. So, man, talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. This is just, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the old timers that need some variety in their lives. Now, again, there are a lot of older folks that don't care. People over 50, I got my music, Dave. I hear this all the time. Why are you trying to sell me on something? I don't want it. I got my music. I'm cool. I got my playlist on Spotify. I don't need anything new. I'll add a few songs here or there. You recommend some old music to me that I haven't heard, and I'll put it in there. Look, we had a great thing from the 1950s up until about 1990 something. And you can put a number, you could say 97. You could say, when did Napster happen? When did grunge really kick in? Those are really like benchmarks. They're bad milestones. And then things just got progressively worse. Adult contemporary radio held on a little bit longer. People you could listen to, but even that has faded away. And what's weird is there's a local station, right? And they're doing 40 years. We play the hits of yesterday and today. So they're playing this new crap, right? I don't want to go into details. Should I say Taylor Swift? Right? So they're playing things like Taylor Swift. And then they're going back and they're playing like the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams. And it's the only song they play by the Eurythmics. And if I hear it again, blood might start spurting out of my ears. Why just that one song? Dave, that was their biggest song. It was a big video on MTV. Remember that? The cow, and wasn't there like a cello or a violin or something? I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but Dave, it was really big. It was really popular. One song. I mean, I lived through the 80s. Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves. Did they ever play that? Aretha Franklin and Annie Lennox with the Eurythmics. Did they ever play that? No. Too much talent there. Too much of a diversion from the 2 or 3 songs that they play over and over again. So we're in a holding pattern, and that holding pattern is insulated, and it allows for albums to chart briefly. So all the classic rock radio websites can say, hey, look at the new Bon Jovi doing really well. And then the next week it's gone. It just fell off the charts. So yeah. And by the way, you don't sell a lot of copies to get to number 5 anymore. He may have sold like 10,000 units to get to number 5. And in the old days, to get to number 5, you were probably selling 100,000 units or 80,000 units or something like that. Because to get to gold and then platinum, you had to sustain that for week after week after week. And that's why so many albums in like the 80s and the 70s and even into the 90s to some degree, multi-platinum albums. I mean, how did they do that stuff? Well, number one, they didn't have streaming, right? So again, you had to buy the album. If you wanted to hear it, you could hear a couple of songs on the radio, but you'd have to buy it if you really were digging it. And people bought them because like all these CDs I got, and people shake their head and they're like, why are you doing that? Why do you have CDs? I don't know. They're little security blankets. They're coasters. Like I said, put your adult beverage on here or your non-adult beverage. And it's a conversation starter. If you ever have people over your house, you could say, hey, look at this. I got a CD. And they're like, wow, I haven't seen one of those in like 25 years. That's amazing. So anyway, folks, we're in trouble. We've been in trouble for a while. And some people say, who cares? Got the old music. And I get it. I've already repeated that a few times in this. I'm just sad because the industry will never recover. It's never going to be back to where it was. And by the way, this isn't just about John Bon Jovi. Some new person or some new band could come along and this should be on the radio. And this is not even going to get a blip anywhere. Like at least John will get some press because he's John Bon Jovi and people know who he is. But if you're an unknown band and you want to gain traction, there's no hope. You're not even going to get a shout out from classic rock or mainstream rock. You're going to get zero exposure. And then all of those people constantly like to say, well, but the internet is great. It's like the Wild West. You could put your stuff out there and get millions of views. True. You could. But then who's doing that? No, it's all AI right now. It's algorithms. Algorithms are doing all of that. And so, if you don't get into the vortex, and people are still going to just stream at the end of it for the most part. So it's a sad world and we're living through it, but we've got great music that we grew up listening to. We just, I think, need to do 2 things. One, maybe listen to some stuff by people that that's a little different, just to kind of mix it up. And number two, if there's something like this that comes along, give it a listen. Take a break from the same old stuff and just give it a listen. And if it's not any good, you didn't lose really that much. I mean, I don't know. It depends. Some people would say, well, I can't get that 40 minutes of my life back. I could be listening to the Rolling Stones, but, you messed me up. That's the radio programming mentality right now. It's we just have to play it super safe, super boring, not too creative, we used to call them spike records. No spike records. Nope, don't want to freak people out. Anyway, folks, I've ranted enough about this. It was supposed to be a short video about how Bon Jovi hits number 5 and then disappears. That's really sad. Thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Please pray for peace in the Middle East and in our own country during this wonderful 2024 election cycle, which is just getting weirder and stranger by the day.